Loch Trossachs National Park is shrouded in myth and legend. It is such a beautiful place that it isn't hard to see why many of the lochs and glens become associated with the creatures and mysteries of the past. The Trossachs, which in Gaelic means bristly territory, has for over 200 years attracted some of Scotland's most renowned writers. These writers, poets and artists were inspired by the vivid landscapes, and they even included some very famous names such as Robert Louis Stevenson and Samuel Coleridge. It was Sir Walter Scott's 1810 poem The Lady of the Lake that really put the Trossachs on the map. Loch Katrine is right in the middle of the Trossachs National Park. Loch Katrine's history is full of stories about witches, trolls and urisks, small people like pixies or fairies. It's rumoured that some of the urisks still live underneath big rocks. Be careful though, urisks are usually friendly, but they are easily upset, so you're not supposed to disturb them. And apparently every year, all of the urisks in Scotland meet near here, underneath the foothills of Benvenue. The place is called the Corrie of the Urisks. Don't worry about the strange name, you should be more worried about the mischief that they get up to. The Little Thorn Waterfalls is just underneath the David Marshall Lodge here in Aberfoyle. It's rumoured that over 100 years ago there were some hunters that were chasing a herd of deer across the hillside. In amongst the herd of deer were some little baby deers which are called fawns. As they reached the top of the waterfall, all the big deer managed to make the jump, but unfortunately the two little baby deers couldn't, and they fell all the way to the bottom of the waterfalls. As the hunters peered over the edge, they expecting to see the deer dead at the bottom of the waterfalls, they could see them hopping and skipping along the path at the bottom as if nothing was wrong. Legend has it that underneath the waterfall is a cave. In the cave lived fairies, and these fairies came out from the cave, caught the fawns in mid-flight and let them go and live on for another day. Another person to grace the shores of Loch Katrine was Roy Mcgregor. Born in 1671 in Glen Gyle at the head of Loch Katrine, he was by turn a soldier, a businessman, a cattle rustler and an outlaw. But above all, he was a folk hero, and latter-day Robin Hood, whose transformation into a larger-than-life figure began with Daniel Defoe's fictionalised biography called Highland Rogue. This was published while Rob Roy was still alive and led to a royal pardon in 1726 that allowed him to live out his final years quietly. Literally a legend in his own lifetime. Roy Mcgregor died on the 28th of December 1734 in Balquidder Glen and was buried at Balquidder Kirkyard. The original grave markers of Roy, his wife, and two of his 4 sons has been embellished by a letter rail which carries a plaque incorrectly aging Roy as 70 when he died. He was actually 63. And by the gravestone erected in 1981 proclaiming the famous phrase, MacGregor despite them. Next up, the stories of Trossachs legend is the story of the poker tree. Baillie Nicol Jarvie was a Glasgow magistrate and cousin of the infamous Roy Mcgregor, who stopped at an inn at the Clachan of Aberfoyle. During his visit, an argument broke out, resulting in a burly Highlander drawing his sword and challenging the Baillie to a fight. The Baillie attempted to draw his sword in response, only to find it had rusted into its scabbard through lack of use. In his desperation, the Baillie grabbed the closest weapon to hand, which happened to be a poker red hot from the fire, and in the scuffle, the poker set fire to the charging Highlander's blade, sending him fleeing. The Highlander returned, but only to concede defeat and congratulate Baillie on besting him. The poker was then hung from the branches of the old oak tree, which stood outside the inn as a reminder of the incident, and can still be seen in the gardens of the Baillie Nicol Jarvie Hotel, which is now apartments in the middle of Aberfoyle. Which brings us to the final mystery, which lies here in Aberfoyle. Robert Kirk, a former minister of Balquidder, was to take on the same role in Aberfoyle. He had been interested in the magical world of fairies since an early age. In 1691, his book, The Secret Commonwealth, was published. In the book, he described the lives of fairies, fauns and elves, revealing their secrets. The Reverend Robert Kirk's life was to come to an end one day in May 1692. During his daily walk from the manse at Aberfoyle to nearby Doon Hill, as he reached the hill, the fairies, displeased with Kirk for giving away their secrets, are said to have descended on him, carrying him to the underground world of fairyland. The pine tree at the top of Doon Hill is said to contain his spirit, imprisoned there forever by the fairies. Some say that if you climb the hill and make a wish under the pine tree, then your wish may come true. Let's see what happens. Well, I hope you've enjoyed this little video on Trossachs mysteries and legends. Remember to check out the YouTube feed, the Twitter accounts and all the usual Blairvadach socials, and I look forward to seeing you guys again at some point in the near future. Thanks for watching.